Welcome back to the channel Coins Collector everyone, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the unexpected stories behind the money we often take for granted. Today's journey takes us into one of the most incredible discoveries in American coin collecting history, a story that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. We're going to talk about the 1985 Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin with a face value of just 25 cents, but in certain rare cases, because of errors, minting mistakes, and anomalies, has skyrocketed in value all the way up to an astonishing $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single quarter worth over $2 million. Imagine digging through your spare change, tossing coins into a jar, and realizing that one of those quarters could be worth enough to buy a mansion, luxury cars, or change your life entirely. That's exactly the allure of rare coins, and that's exactly why the 1985 Liberty Quarter has become a legend in numismatic circles. Now, before we get into the specifics of why this particular coin is so valuable, it's important to set the stage with a little background. The quarter dollar, as we know it today, has a long and storied history in the United States. The design of the Washington quarter first appeared in 1932, created to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. Since then, quarters have gone through subtle changes, with new mint marks, altered portraits, and varying inscriptions. In 1985, quarters were being struck in massive quantities at several U.S. mint facilities, including the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the D mint mark on the coin. Most of those coins went into circulation, used for bus fares, sodas, laundromats, or just tucked away in change jars. But among the millions of quarters struck that year, a few came out of the presses with unusual features, striking errors, or misplacements that would eventually make them worth millions to the right collector. The 1985 Liberty Quarter that has drawn so much attention owes its astronomical value to its errors. Coin errors can happen in many different ways. Sometimes a coin is struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing or stretched. Other times, a wrong planchet is used, meaning a coin blank intended for a dime or even a foreign coin ends up being struck with the quarter design. Then there are double dies, where the coin's design looks shadowed or doubled due to a misalignment during the engraving process. In the case of the 1985 quarter, one of the most significant contributing factors to its value is the possibility of mint mark errors combined with striking irregularities that set it apart from normal circulation coins. Collectors often talk about mint mark anomalies as one of the holy grails of coin hunting. The mint mark tells you where the coin was produced, and errors involving the mint mark can make a coin especially rare. For example, a repunched mint mark, where the D for Denver looks like it has been stamped twice or misaligned, can drastically increase a coin's value. In certain cases, the mint mark is entirely missing, which is extremely unusual. When such an error is combined with a year like 1985, which already wasn't a particularly low mintage year, it creates a situation where the error coin is practically one of a kind. That rarity drives demand, and demand drives price. Now, let's talk about the $2.2 million figure, because it's not just hype. In the coin collecting world, rarity is everything. A coin can be old, but if there are millions of them, it's not going to command an outrageous price. On the other hand, a relatively modern coin like this 1985 quarter can reach astronomical values if it is unique, if it has an error that no other coin has, or if its condition is beyond flawless. Condition, also known as grade, is crucial. Coins are graded on a scale, with mint state or proof condition coins sitting at the very top. A 1985 Liberty Quarter that escaped circulation and remained untouched, with its original luster, sharp details, and no scratches, already has some collector value. But when you add in dramatic minting errors, suddenly the coin transforms from pocket change to a museum-worthy artifact worth millions. It's important to understand that error coins are not intentionally created by the mint. They are accidents, anomalies in a process designed to churn out identical, perfect coins. That's what makes them fascinating. It's like a printing error in a rare book or a misprint on a postage stamp. The flaw, instead of making the item worthless, actually makes it priceless to the right buyer. In fact, the story of the 1985 Liberty Quarter's value is very similar to how some stamps or baseball cards with mistakes have become legendary collectibles. The human eye is drawn to imperfection, and in the world of numismatics, imperfection equals opportunity. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1985 Liberty Quarter is believed to involve the planchet. Imagine for a moment that instead of being struck on the copper-nickel-clad planchet typical of quarters, the coin was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet, or even the wrong denomination. This type of wrong planchet error is extremely rare, and when authenticated, it can make a coin worth many thousands, if not millions. Then there's the possibility of doubling, where parts of the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," or even the year, 1985, appear to have a shadow effect, a sign of a double die error. Combine these with a mint mark issue, such as a repunched or misplaced D, and you suddenly have a trifecta of errors that makes the coin virtually one of a kind. The legends surrounding the $2.2 million quarter often include the idea that it was discovered by accident. This adds to the allure. Imagine someone sifting through pocket change, maybe at a gas station, maybe emptying out an old jar, and suddenly realizing that a coin looks a little off. The font seems thicker, the mint mark seems strange, the rim doesn't look quite right. That's often how great discoveries happen in the world of coin collecting. It's not always a professional numismatist under a magnifying glass. Sometimes it's an ordinary person who simply pays attention. That's why coin collecting is such a universal hobby. Anyone, from a child to a retiree, could stumble upon a life-changing discovery hidden in everyday change. When the story of the 1985 Liberty Quarter worth $2.2 million began to circulate, it reignited interest in coin hunting across the United States. Suddenly people were dumping out jars, scouring through couch cushions, and lining up at banks to get rolls of quarters to search through. The possibility of finding a life-altering coin in everyday circulation is irresistible, and that's part of what makes this story so engaging. But make no mistake, not every 1985 quarter is worth millions. Most are worth 25 cents, maybe a little more if they're in pristine condition and sold to a collector. The extraordinary value lies only in the coins with extreme errors and flawless preservation. Now, let's dig a little deeper into why collectors are willing to pay so much for an error coin like this. Beyond rarity and condition, there's also the prestige factor. Owning a one-of-a-kind coin gives collectors bragging rights, the satisfaction of possessing something no one else in the world has. It's like owning a famous painting, a unique artifact, or a rare gemstone. The price tag reflects not just the physical object, but the story, the history, and the rarity. The 1985 Liberty Quarter embodies all of those qualities, which is why it has reached such legendary status. Another fascinating aspect is authentication. In order for a coin to reach a multi-million-dollar valuation, it must be authenticated and graded by professional coin grading services. These experts examine the coin under microscopes, analyze the metal content, confirm the errors, and assign it a grade. A coin graded at mint state 68 or 69, with a dramatic and confirmed error, could easily command a fortune. Authentication removes doubt, and in a market where millions of dollars are at stake, certainty is everything. It's also worth noting that the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck, has a long history of producing both standard and error coins. Minting millions of coins every year, the sheer volume means that occasionally mistakes slip through the cracks. While quality control is extremely strict, perfection is impossible. And for collectors, those imperfections are pure gold. The tale of the 1985 Liberty Quarter is not just about one coin. It's about possibility. It's about the dream that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a hidden fortune in the most ordinary of places. It's about the idea that something as small and overlooked as a quarter could hold secrets worth millions. It's also about the passion of collectors, the dedication to history, and the thrill of the hunt. Today, on this fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, incredible mistakes, and the hidden treasures that sometimes slip right through the fingers of the U.S. Mint and end up in the pockets, jars, and collections of ordinary people. What you're about to discover is a story that combines history, human error, and sheer luck into one of the most exciting chapters in American numismatics, the story of the 1996 Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin that, while having a face value of just 25 cents, can be worth as much as $1.5 million. That's right, a single quarter from 1996, something most of us would use without thinking to pay for a gumball or parking meter, can be worth more than a luxury home, all because of a series of rare errors and minting quirks that set it apart from the billions of other coins produced that year. To understand why a coin as common as a quarter from 1996 could carry such an astonishing value, we have to start by looking at the quarter itself. The United States quarter dollar, often called the Liberty Quarter or Washington Quarter depending on the era, has been in circulation since 1932 when it was first introduced to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1996, the Washington Quarter design was already a familiar part of daily American life. The obverse of the coin featured the bust of Washington, designed by John Flanagan, and the reverse carried the image of an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches. This design had been used for decades and was still in circulation until 1998, when the popular state quarters program began. But in 1996, nothing about the design itself stood out as new or extraordinary. Billions of quarters were minted that year, produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So what makes the 1996 Liberty Quarter so special? Why would anyone pay more than $1 million for a coin that most people could easily find in circulation? The answer lies in the tiny details, the errors and mistakes that make this particular coin unique. To fully appreciate this, we need to understand what mint errors are, how they happen, and why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for them. The minting process for coins is incredibly precise. Blanks of metal, known as planchets, are prepared, polished, and fed into coining presses where hardened steel dies strike them with tremendous pressure to create the coin's design. In theory, every coin should come out identical, perfect, and ready for circulation. But in practice, mistakes happen. Dies crack or get misaligned. Planchets can be flawed or improperly cut. Sometimes foreign objects get between the dies. Other times, a coin might be struck on the wrong type of metal altogether. These mistakes can result in coins that look strange, coins that were never meant to exist, and coins that, because of their rarity, become highly desirable among collectors. The 1996 Liberty Quarter that has been valued at $1.5 million is one such coin. It is believed to have been struck with a series of errors that make it virtually one of a kind. Some experts suggest that this coin may have been struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin, creating a quarter that has the wrong weight, composition, or dimensions. Others believe that the coin shows dramatic double die errors, where the design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during striking. Still others point to unusual mint marks, the tiny letters that indicate which mint produced the coin. A wrong or missing mint mark can instantly transform a regular coin into a rarity. For example, a 1996 quarter that should bear a P for Philadelphia might instead carry a D for Denver or lack a mint mark altogether. When you combine multiple errors, like a missing mint mark, an off-center strike, and an incorrect planchet, you get a coin that is unlike any other and therefore priceless to collectors. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1996 era quarter is its mint mark situation. Mint marks are a small detail, but they are crucial in numismatics. They tell us where a coin was produced, and small variations can mean the difference between a common coin worth a few cents and a rare treasure worth thousands. For example, coins from San Francisco often carry an S mint mark and are usually proof coins made in small quantities for collectors. Philadelphia coins carry a P, and Denver coins carry a D. In 1996, both Philadelphia and Denver produced large numbers of quarters, while San Francisco produced proof versions. But the $1 million 1996 quarter is said to have a mint mark anomaly that shouldn't exist. Some reports suggest that the mint mark was accidentally struck twice, creating a doubled P. Others suggest that a D mint mark was mistakenly placed on a coin struck in Philadelphia, an error that would have required human oversight. And still others believe the coin shows no mint mark at all, an incredibly rare occurrence for modern coins. Another possibility that adds to the mystery is the composition of the coin. Since 1965, quarters have been made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, with an inner core of copper sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. But sometimes mistakes happen and coins are struck on leftover silver planchets from proof sets, foreign planchets, or even blanks intended for other denominations like nickels or dimes. Imagine finding a 1996 quarter that weighs slightly less than normal, or one that has a different ring when dropped because it was struck on the wrong metal. Such a coin would be instantly recognized as an error and could command enormous value. Collectors also prize coins with striking errors. These include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing, broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal boundaries because of a missing collar, or multiple strikes, where the coin is struck 2 or 3 times, leaving ghostly images of Washington's bust or the eagle. The 1996 Liberty Quarter that sold for an astonishing $1.5 million is thought to combine several of these error types, making it a true rarity. It's worth pausing to think about what this means. A coin that most of us would overlook, something that could be rattling around in a coin jar or tucked away in a drawer, could be worth more than $1 million if it has the right combination of errors. And these coins are often discovered not by experts but by ordinary people who take a second look at something that seems unusual. Maybe the coin feels lighter or heavier. Maybe the mint mark looks strange. Maybe the design seems doubled. Those tiny differences can mean the difference between a quarter worth 25 cents and one that can change your life. The story of the 1996 Liberty Quarter also reminds us of how much of coin collecting is about history and human error. No one at the U.S. Mint set out to create $1 million quarter. These mistakes happened by accident, either because of worn equipment, rushed production, or oversight. But it's precisely these accidents that make coins fascinating. Every error coin is a snapshot of a moment in time when something went wrong at the mint, and instead of being caught, the mistake slipped into circulation, waiting for someone to discover it decades later. Now, let's imagine for a moment what it would be like to come across such a coin. You're emptying your pockets at the end of the day, sorting through change, and you notice something odd about one of your quarters. Maybe the P mint mark looks doubled. Maybe Washington's face looks like it's shadowed. Maybe the rim of the coin seems wider on one side than the other. At first, you might dismiss it as just wear and tear. But if you looked closer, you might realize you're holding something extraordinary. And if you took it to an expert or a grading service, you might learn that your 25-cent coin is worth $1 million. That's the kind of dream that fuels the passion of coin collectors all over the world. The 1996 Liberty Quarter has become a legend in numismatic circles, not just because of its value but because of the possibilities it represents. If such a coin exists, how many others are still out there, undiscovered? How many people have unknowingly spent a rare error coin at a vending machine or dropped it into a parking meter? These stories keep collectors searching, examining every coin, and believing that treasure could be hiding in plain sight. Over the years, stories of error coins selling for astronomical prices have captured the public imagination. The 1955 double die penny, the 1933 double eagle, the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with an extra leaf, all of these are examples of how tiny details can make a huge difference. But the 1996 Liberty Quarter stands out because it's so modern, so recent, and yet so incredibly valuable. It's a reminder that you don't need to go digging through ancient history to find treasure. Sometimes it's as close as your pocket change.